Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. This week, the world progression race for Midas Savage is over, and we will be talking in not full detail, but in some detail of how this raid tier was structured and how it stacks up against Gordius Savage. And on top of that, we had the new PvP mode released on Thursday, the Feast, which we'll be giving our initial impressions of since we are still in preseason. But of course, joining me this week, as per usual, is our other co-host, Slyh, aka Slythefox, aka Slyakagreyfox, aka Salty at the Feast, aka you, my boy Blue. How you doing?
Salty at the Feast.
The feast has a tendency to cause high sodium levels. If you consume too much, it's like eating too much McDonald's or too many burgers. If you consume too much, you're gonna get high cholesterol. You're gonna have high sodium. So I'm trying to lower my sodium intake right now, and this is how I'm doing it. So thank you.
Yeah, that was a Mr. Happy length explanation of sodium right there. That's all I gotta say. But if anything, it shouldn't be too much McDonald's. It should be too much Taco Bell or Subway, because our other guest for the day.
Too much quesalupa.
Too much quesalupa is Layla
quesalupa.
Bell, one
Hello.
of the 8 members of Team Double or Nothing from Elysium who secured World First, who we had on just, was it 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago? Episode 51, actually.
About 3 weeks. It was right before patch 2.2.
Yeah, episode 51. It's only been 4 weeks. Good to have you back on the show already. Good thing
Thanks
we're
you for
here
inviting me.
to celebrate. It's over.
It's over. For us, at least, it's over.
Yeah, that's true. It's not over for everyone. If everyone's just like, all
A lot
right,
of
that's
people
it.
are still, struggling and beating their heads against the wall.
Oh yeah,
I can rest.
You can rest. Did you just come out of a raid before this?
Yeah, we pushed our raid a little early so that we could, have time to get it all done before the show.
I gotta know. Was
I
it
literally
a one
just
shot?
went from raid. It was not one shot. No.
Okay. I just wanted to know. That's
There
the
was a
most
lot of
important
trolling
thing.
and joking around, so it was not a one shot.
I saw Twitter. Fold making taru kebabs on Twitter.
Yeah,
is always. Yeah.
Yeah, A7's always fun. Every week we go into A7 and we comment, oh, there's blood on the spikes.
God damn it.
Become a running joke.
I say we just get right into the major topic, World First Race. The placements are secured, at least first and second place so far. A8 Savage has been cleared at this point by 2 groups. The World First group was, like I said, Team Double or Nothing from the Elysium Free Company. Of course, Layla being a tank in that group, one of 8 members. I always, what's funny? I always forget one member of your group. I always go to name everyone. I always
Who
forget
is it?
one person.
Let's put you on the spot.
I think it's Vox. I always forget.
Oh, he's kind of quiet, so.
Yeah, like I always remember. I always remember Slyh, Alice, Miu, you, Fold, and then you have. And now I'm gonna forget more because I put myself on the spot. I'm just gonna stop. I remember those 5. There we go.
Okay, I mean that's majority.
Rin-chan, because they got the gun. Yeah. See, this is why I don't name people, and that's why Sly's looking at me like you shouldn't have even tried.
No.
All right. Well, several weeks ago, we had you on the show, and we had your thoughts on how you hoped the raid tier would go, and now you can get your thoughts on how the raid tier actually went.
Yeah, to a point, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's only been you and one other group today that's cleared, so we really don't have any kill videos. And again, it's your, what did you say in pre-show, either 2 or 3 weeks or until 3 more FCs clear?
Well, for our video, we're waiting for at least 3 more FCs or 2 weeks from the time of the first kill. So still got some time potentially.
So no kill videos just yet, but we do have audio. We have a video, but it's just audio. It's the Nerd Scream reaction. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have seen it, but we're going to show it tonight, right?
Sure, let's watch it.
I've got it up right now. It's basically just audio over the screenshot of the kill itself. I want you to listen for one very specific line, everybody. I believe it's Fold who says it, and it is the greatest line of all time that you've ever heard outside of Leroy's "ah" in the first one. And here we go.
Keep it going. Keep it going.
4 seconds.
Keep going. Keep it going. More heals. More heals. More heals. Everything you have here.
Shouts up.
Get ready to LD, Vox. Get ready to LD. I'm gonna LD. Everything you have. Everything you have. Go. Go.
I'm
Go.
spamming.
Come on. Go.
Yeah.
Yes, dude. Yes. Fucking A.
Oh, man.
What the hell?
Oh man, finally.
It's done, boys.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh
It's
my
fucking done! I can't even feel my feet!
I lose it every time. I can't feel my feet.
Oh
I
my
lose it. I
god.
lose it every time I hear. I can't feel my feet. Just can't. It's so good. It's so good every time I hear that. Oh my god. So I have to ask Layla, it sounded like you got up, walked away from your computer, and came back, is what it sounded like.
You would be correct.
Because you went completely quiet for 15 seconds and then just came back and yelled, "It's fucking dead!"
I'm pretty sure I knocked my chair over and then walked to the other side of my room and then paced back to my keyboard.
I'm glad I have a visual of that. Now, 'cause we know what it looks like behind you, so we could perfectly visualize just you with legs.
Just knocked this chair backwards, and I needed to compose myself for a few seconds.
I can't even feel my feet.
I can't feel my feet.
I don't even want to know what caused it. So
There's a Leroy cameo in that audio.
Is there?
Yeah, I don't know if people caught it. There's a Leroy cameo. He joined the channel.
Oh my god, what was he over in the BNS channel when it happened?
Yeah, he was in the BNS channel, and then he came and joined.
Oh my god.
When he heard that we killed him.
I heard Goga, I didn't hear Leroy.
Yeah.
Alright. So I gotta ask you, it's funny that this video exists. It's the Nerd Scream video. And this has kind of been a thing since Gordius, really.
Yeah, it's something we started doing. People said that they liked it, so we wanted to keep doing it.
So I gotta ask, people like the Nerd Scream videos, but it's not even just the video of the Nerd Scream that people like. It's the meme behind it.
Oh god.
That started on Reddit. For those who don't know, when Elysium got world first on A4 Savage, they put a video up says this is our Nerd Scream because the people liked it in A3. And then somebody thought that the free company's name that got world first was Nerd Scream. So they asked in a big Reddit post who actually got world first, or where it was. I don't remember the exact name, but they basically thought it was a free company called Nerd Scream that got world first, not Elysium's world first Nerd Scream. And since then, everyone says Nerd Scream's going to get world first. Every time. Or in this case, it's like a Nerd Scream got world first on M4 Savage. Pretty much. How do you feel about that joke?
I mean, it's really. I mean, we get a kick out of it. It's one of those things. We enjoy racing against Nerd Scream every tier. So we hope that they continue to strive and play.
What would you do if a free company named Nerd Scream actually came out and like got world first? Or
it was actually competitive.
It was actually competitive. Yes.
That would be quite the turn of events. I don't. And then they won. I don't know. That would be interesting. See, I don't think Reddit would take it seriously.
Yeah, they'd be like,
Reddit would have to.
No, it would take a while.
They'd think it was a troll, I think.
Yeah, they'd think that like Elysium changed their free company name to Nerd Scream just for that night, just to get the kill, and then changed it back. That's pretty much what they would expect with the extent that it would be. Oh, man.
So, Layla, Mike had the privilege of being in the FC chat when you guys killed it, and I'm sure he can tell us what it was like, and we kind of heard it, but what did it actually feel like to finish this tier and lock in another world first?
I mean, it felt great, obviously.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed it. There was a lot of hard work that went into this tier. Sure, it didn't take the 5 weeks that Gordius took, but there was still, the hours that were put in were still, very taxing and time-consuming, and to have it all come together in that, course of 13 to 14 minutes, and just how it's the culmination of those many hours of work. It's of course a great feeling, and you're very proud for what you and your teammates have accomplished at that moment. It's a feeling of you're just very proud. That's the best way I can describe it. And then feelings such as being ecstatic and excited start to set in, and I'm just really happy and proud of my team this year.
And then you have Alice, who immediately says, "Okay, nothing else to do. I'm done." Every time he's like,
we're finding stuff to do through the feast. Feast has been a lot of fun.
Thank God. Yeah, everyone in Elysium has been doing the feast. It's been we're practically a feast-free company right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
Everyone who's feasting in Elysium.
If you're not in Burden of the Sun, you're in the feast. That's pretty much how the FC is right now.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I'm sure everyone wants to hear about 8 Savage specifically, but like you said, the video's still not out. We still don't have 5 kills. We're not going to go into super high detail, but we actually want to talk about the raid tier as a whole, because a lot of people were watching this raid tier after Gordius to see, was the raid scene salvageable? Was it something that was always going to be kind of for Elysium-type free companies, and free companies that were kind of middle core would just fall off? So we got to kind of assess the situation here, see if it really fell between second and final coil, how it compared next to Katla immediately smiled. Because I've seen Fold and Muse
I don't know what you're insinuating.
I've seen Fold and Muse Twitter regarding that statement. So, but we have some numbers that we'll talk about later with that. Yeah. That may prove otherwise, despite what Twitter says.
Well, we'll see it. We'll wait for that.
We'll wait for that. All right. You want to get us started on this one, Sly?
So in this tier, where was the enjoyment factor? Because I talked about this a little with Mike. About the kind of replayability that it probably will have, and it's probably going to have. Where was the enjoyment factor in Midas? Because we know Gordius was just meh until you got to A3, and then that was a wall for a lot of people. And then A4, people just got bored with it. Where was the enjoyment factor?
Well, when you're talking about enjoyment, you're essentially looking at it through 2 different lenses. You're looking at it through a lens of progression and then a lens of farm. Mm-hmm. And I think the enjoyment for progression came from the fact that this was a fairly mechanically heavy tier in comparison to Gordius, which was mostly DPS checks and simple mechanics. Maybe not simple mechanics, but simple to dissect mechanics. Midas, we have been talking about in our team, is notorious at this point for what we call mechanic vomit, where it just throws 3 or 4 mechanics at you at the same time. And when you're going through progression, you're then having to learn how to do each of those mechanics concurrently with one another. And for Prog, that creates a very interesting dynamic, because when you're trying to learn one dynamic, you're having to learn the other 3 just good enough to survive them while you're learning the other one. So that's an interesting dynamic that was not really present in Gordius, or Final Coil for that matter. As far as farm content goes and like replayability and clearing the fights every week, I think this tier is pretty enjoyable. What'll be interesting to see is once everyone is full I-240, because we're already starting to see it with some of the more geared teams, some of the fights are becoming very trivial, and a lot of the fights are being skipped. A lot of large portions of the fight are being skipped because of the very lenient DPS checks. Once people are doing very high numbers of DPS, you're going to be skipping large portions of fights. And we haven't quite seen how that will factor into actual enjoyment of the fight. I know that when it comes to A5, many groups are skipping entire phases.
The 65% push phase, where
the 65% push, where you just skip the boost and stuff entirely, and you go right into the Chimera or whatever it is, and then skipping the entire final pig and the big guy.
Didn't you guys basically skip the Shabti in your kill?
Yeah, our first kill we skipped the big axe guy, whatever his name. I still don't know what his name is because I haven't really seen him.
Glassy-eyed Shabti, I think.
Yeah, that guy. We funnily enough, when we first killed A5, we actually thought that was like a soft enrage. We didn't think that there was actually more beyond that.
There's another whole big phase and little phase after that.
I've never seen beyond that, so I don't know what goes beyond that. But that goes to my point. Once teams are getting gear and we're seeing full I-240 teams, these fights are going to be skipping large portions of the fight. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how the fights actually end this tier.
And that's what I wanted to talk about next. Not only is it just gear, because the gear really didn't make a lot of difference in Gordius, but on top of the gear now you have materia. So is it going to make a lot of difference? It's going to push phases, but is the gear on top of the materia too going to make a lot of difference in clear rates? Will it make the clear rates come a little bit quicker than it did in Gordius?
When you're talking about gear, are you referring to the crafted gear that's available this tier?
anything. Just
Anything.
like gear.
Okay, just any.
Is,
Okay,
is gear because gear wasn't really a factor. Like you could be full 210 and groups still can beat A Savage.
Gotcha.
back in the day.
I think definitely 5 through 7 would play out that way. I think gear solves most of the grievances of any of those 3 fights. 8 is a product of practice. You're not going to see success in 8 without, gear's not going to carry you through that fight.
Okay.
The fight is it just takes a lot of practice and learning how to operate in the phases.
Okay, so he's trying to find out more about the tier itself. I've watched enough of this tier. I've seen enough of it. I've seen 5, I've seen 6, 7, I've seen almost all of 8. I don't know when I'll see the rest of it. Which of these bosses would you say was your favorite? And 8 Savage can be an answer. You don't have to do 5 through 7 on this one.
I actually haven't given much thought to this. I think it's kind of unfortunate that A6 had the problems that it did in the first week because
No, there's no bug.
I'm not going to open up that rabbit hole. But, I think it's unfortunate that A6 had the problems that it did because without them, I probably really would have enjoyed A6, and I might have said A6. I thought the progression style of A6 was something that Final Fantasy hasn't really experimented much with in the past, of where you're progressing through multiple fights in one fight. There's a large learning curve to that turn. And I thought that was really interesting, and I might have answered A6, but all the compressed water shenanigans just have completely turned me off to that turn, and I hate zoning into it every time as a result. So I'm actually probably going to lean towards A5. I really enjoy A5. I think it's got a lot of cool mechanics. I thought the puddles, whatever you want to call them, I don't really know what they are, but the different colored puddles was an interesting mechanic that they experimented with.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, turning into a gorilla is fun. I haven't got to do it, but maybe one day they'll let me be a gorilla. And I just thought A5
so you can press 1 twice.
Yeah, I really just want to punch a bomb. I haven't got to punch a bomb yet.
So in comparison to A1, where
not even close.
Not even close. So you don't feel like feel like you'll get bored with this kind of quick as people got bored with A1. Okay.
I don't think so. I mean, like I said, I don't know what the fight's going to be like when we're all I-240. Maybe it's just going to be really uninteresting. Where it's just going to be like 3 phases.
Go big.
3 phases and it's dead. It just never does boost. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But in its current form right now, the current gear levels available, I really enjoy A5.
Is there any of these bosses that you would call the new living liquid for your average raid team?
No.
A few people
are saying 6.
6. A
A lot of people are saying 6 because blaster and dashing does not go well together for a lot of people.
You could say that blaster is a roadblock that will cause a lot of groups headache. But the thing about blaster is, as soon as you get a little bit of HP, I mean, you can be hit by the charges and still live. So, I don't think it's going to be something like A3 where even the pugs that still had gear were instantly dying to mechanics that they were doing wrong. Blaster is something that once you get a little gear, I mean, you can do the mechanic completely wrong and still skate by just fine.
I do echo your thoughts on A6 because I've only done 5 and half of 6 at this point because I haven't been doing hardcore raiding this patch.
Right.
And I gotta say, 6, I agree with you. It's something even in normal mode felt like something that's been missing in Square Enix. It actually felt like a raid to some degree.
Yeah, it was a very interesting progression style.
Do you think we'll see more of that in terms of future tiers or future raids?
I do. I think that they're going to look at that as a success. I think the style of 1 fight per turn 4 times a tier is stale, and I think they want to explore things like council fights or gauntlets more. We saw it a little bit in A2, but not to the extent that A6 is.
A2, aka turn 4 again.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I think A6 is a product of them learning from turn 4 and A2.
Oh man, it's that first week gripe though, man.
Now,
Unfortunate.
Yeah.
Now, one big difference between this tier and Gordius was that it was released, both normal and savage were released at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yes, this tier it was completed quicker in terms of savage. What did it feel like to do savage right out the gate once you finished normal? Did it, because you didn't have that time to kind of dissect and practice and see what this mechanic is going to do? You didn't have that time. You had to go right in. Do you feel like it could have been done a little? Well, let's devil's advocate say that we follow the same route that Gordius did, and we had it 2 weeks later. Do you feel like it would have been savage would have been done quicker, or do you think that with it was as is, it probably would have not mattered?
I don't think it would have been done much quicker. I think the only fight that would have been done a little quicker is A7, because A7 Savage behaves fairly similarly to A7 Normal, to an extent. It behaves much more so similar to Normal than the other three in comparison. 5, 6, and 8, they don't share a whole lot of similarities from Normal, and I don't think that there's much. You're required to do Normal at least once, and in that one clearing of Normal, we kind of learned everything we needed to learn for the Savage encounters. We learned that boost, obviously, you want to be a bird. We learned what the different brawler attack modes were in A6. We learned that you can use a tornado to LOS and Ultra Flash. These are all things that you have to learn to get through Normal, and those are all the things that directly relate to Savage.
Right.
I don't think we would have seen a lot of faster clears. Most of the roadblocks in Savage, outside of the A6 shenanigans, were strictly learning how to handle multiple mechanics at the same time. And that's where most of the time spent went.
Now, in terms of mechanics, how do you go about figuring out the mechanics and positions?
See that whiteboard?
Whiteboard right there.
It's just that whenever I see it, whenever I look at like Happy's videos or look at yours, I see like a lot of dancing, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
A lot of dancing this tier.
Yeah, there's a lot of dancing, a lot of jump rope. Not literal jump rope like in...
No, Sephiroth had literal jump rope. Jump arm.
Yeah, actually, it did have jump rope. The tornado.
Yeah.
I get it.
So how do you figure that? Oh, besides the whiteboard, how do you kind of game plan it and figure it out?
That's kind of a loaded question. It's essentially asking, how do we do prog?
Don't give. I'm not asking secrets. I'm like,
There's no
what's
secret? The whiteboard is right there. That's not a secret.
I think the knowledge that I can, detail is probably just simple things like, video recordings are very important. Understanding when to push DPS, when you don't need to push DPS, when you should be focusing on practicing mechanic, when you should be focusing on actually pushing phases, making sure that you have a mechanic or dance down and understood by all 8 members of your team before pushing an agenda of uptime or DPS. All those things are most raid teams are already privy to, but really it's not much more complicated than that. It's just if I was going to highlight anything, it would just be highlighting the fact that it's more important this tier to focus on mechanics than DPS. And through repetition and practice, your team will grow to find success in this tier.
So you're a choreographer?
If you want to call me that, I'll take that title.
Yeah.
Do you need to have MS Paint installed?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
Photoshop.
or a
MS
drawing app. Some sort of board app that your team can draw on.
Shared board app?
Yeah.
Okay. There's certainly...
Now you got me thinking I need to take my damn whiteboard down. Because I do have a whiteboard. Damn it.
Are you looking at it? Is it in front of you?
Yes, it's behind the TV.
What information do you put on your whiteboard, Sly? Out of curiosity.
GT times.
Are you serious?
Yes!
All right, on that note.
GT sector times, yeah. You don't know. That's another discussion. We can talk about it after like that.
All right, yeah. We'll find the time to talk about that, that's for certain.
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, I've seen most of the mechanics at this point. I don't need to know about those individually. Now, I asked you what your favorite boss was.
Yeah.
I know what your least favorite mechanic is, which would be
I think
Vortexer.
everyone knows that, yeah.
I think everyone knows your least favorite. What would you say without, obviously, you can't go into the last phase. If you want to say it's in the last phase of A8 Savage, go right ahead. If not, what would you say your favorite mechanic was going into this tier? Where did you think Square Enix showed the most creativity?
Let me think about that because I want to give a good answer. I think the most creative. I mean, this is just again part of the reasons why I answered A5 is my favorite fight. I think that most of the creativity came in A5. I think that the okay, I'll give a slightly different answer. Actually, a little more interesting. I really enjoyed this tier. I really enjoyed the fact that this tier they used arenas as part of the fight.
And they were almost all squares too.
Yeah, we weren't just one circle, a flat circle, boss arena. A7, you saw tons of interaction with the environment in the arena. Between the spikes and the cages and the corners of the room, and I thought that was really interesting, and gave me some First Coil flashbacks a little bit. Back when they weren't too scared to experiment with boss arenas. So I thought that was a breath of fresh air. And I hope that it's something they continue to pursue in future tiers as well.
How did you feel about them almost all being squares outside of A6?
I didn't mind because, like I said, the actual environment inside the arenas generally played a role. Like if you include like the puddles of A5 as part of the environment, then A5 and A7 had great arena designs. I
also like just to add in 6's height mechanic. Very simple mechanic, but still, I don't know. It's still dynamic. Still dynamic to the arena itself, especially when you're, again, as you called it, mechanic vomit.
Like I said, had I not had
well, we're not talking about Vortexer though.
Had I not had such angst against compressed water, I very very much enjoyed A6.
Crashing Wave, the greatest ability to see that's killed you of all time. All right. So I don't know why I put this in the notes, because I wrote it and then I deleted it, then I put it back. So this whole raid tier, you make it seem like it's very serious, and it's a lot of teamwork, and it's a lot of, camaraderie. But then I go to Twitter and I see Miu and Fold. And their interpretation of mechanics are not as articulately detailed as yours are.
Well, I made this joke on Twitter the other day. The reasons they flock to Twitter to post all that is because they know they don't get away with it in raid.
It's like, shut up, we're talking seriously.
Yeah,
Twitter's an outlet.
Their outlet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to be in a raid group of two people that literally just spew dank memes the entire time?
I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And that's going on Twitter next.
Me and Fold have been with me for many tiers now, and I enjoy playing with them, and they're obviously skilled and talented players, and it's always a treat to do progression with them. And they are two individuals who don't necessarily let it get too serious, and that is valuable to have in a team. I tend to keep things very focused and serious, but you need that comic relief, as Slyh put it. You need comic relief in Prague, so it's nice to have that around.
Thank you, Fold, for being comic relief. Your laugh is beautiful.
That wheeze.
Every time I think of his laugh, because we did a video for Dream Network, and Fold has a clip of him playing Happy Wheels. and it is
Oh my god, I've seen
it is
that.
the greatest.
I need to see that.
You should tweet that out later. That's a good.
Oh, I
Please.
played it live on stream the other day. I'm absolutely
That's funny.
tweeting out that Dream Network clip of Fold laughing. I'll tweet it at him too. That way he can watch it again. He loves watching that clip because he loves his own laugh.
Yeah, he does.
So back to your original, the original question I was asking. Do you prefer this method of them releasing Savage and Normal at the same time, or would you prefer the break?
Well, I think this is an interesting topic because it's been brought up a couple times in the past couple weeks because I don't really look at Midas as the outlier. I look at Gordius as the outlier because, Midas Prog is behaving the same way as Coil Progression did. You're seeing fights for the first time and you're learning them on the spot. So I would view Gordius as the outlier, and I would ask myself, do I want to see something like Gordius return? I think there's pros and cons to both for sure, and the way you approach both is obviously very different. Do I have a preference? As boring of an answer as an answer, it is probably not. I am sort of just willing to do whatever they want to throw at me.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever that is, I'll figure out what the best course of action to approach it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do I prefer one or the other? Just purely out of enjoyment. I thought this tier was very enjoyable in that regard. Of you're seeing fights for the first time as you're zoning into them. I think that crafted gear played a lot into that. I think that not necessarily needing to spend time in normal. I think if there wasn't crafted gear and say we had to farm normal for I-220 gear, that would have been much less of an enjoyable experience. So I think crafted gear probably attributed most to why I don't mind them releasing Savage and normal at the same time.
I was actually about to get into that because god damn, the crafted gear was strong. They said it was going to be strong in this patch.
Really strong.
Holy moly. How much of your first week success of getting 5, 6, and 7 down do you think came down to that crafted gear? Like, how much of those fights do you think could have been done in 210? How much do you think was reliant on getting all that 220 gear and all that material loaded up?
I think, 5 didn't require any. We didn't have any gear for 5. 6 we did with a little crafted gear. We didn't have full crafted gear on players yet, but we did 6 with we didn't have Sephiroth weapons and we had a little crafted gear. 7 I feel was the first fight where you really wanted to make sure you're zoning in with Sephiroth weapons and full crafted gear. And if you're not, you should work on getting that before you go in. That was probably the line, I would say. I think if you remove the headaches of 6, and I'm sorry that I keep going back to the headaches of 6, but
listen, you're not the only one with headaches about it. So
yeah, it played such an important part of first week's prog that I can't not talk about it. If you remove the headaches of 6, I think that there could have been a little less precaution taken, which would have allowed maybe a faster string of pulls. Like I know before we pull Vortexer, there's an assortment of very, very, very precise markers that I have to place because it was that set of markers was the only thing that did not cause what we viewed a bug. And if I placed them wrong, it was going to cause a number of problems. So, I had to spend at least 15 seconds just getting the pull ready before we actually pull. So if you remove the headaches of that, and you're able to pull Vortexer faster, well, maybe the DPS check isn't as tight, and then you don't need as much of the crafted gear. I don't think there was much of an HP check in A6, so the crafted gear, you weren't really needing crafted gear for that. I think the crafted gear for A6 was strictly a DPS thing, and I'm not sure the DPS check was tight enough to warrant needing it for A6. So I would say A7 would be the first instance where you really want to have crafted gear and separate weapons.
Would it be acceptable at this point? We've had weeks of Alexander Normal. Do you think Alexander Normal gear would be acceptable? That the material difference?
Yeah, for certain. Yeah, for certain. The secondaries of Pen and Melva and crafted gear is great, but the most important thing is always going to be the main stat. And anytime you're increasing, vitality and stuff, it is making certain mechanics simpler. and that removes some stress from certain parts of the fight, and then you can focus on other parts of the fight. So gear is certainly any gear upgrade is going to make your life easier.
I actually want to add something into that then, because Sly and I have been working on our, crafted gear and our material and whatnot, but we're DPS, it's easy for us. You're a tank, and you're the only job that really had to put a little bit more thought into it this patch, because Vitality and Strength undersaw the changes. Last time we spoke, we didn't know what the changes were yet.
Mm-hmm. So
while we're on the topic of crafted gear and stats, how did you feel about the Vitality changes coming in versus Strength?
I think this is going to be a bit of a loaded topic, so I apologize in advance, but it played a larger role than I thought it was going to, than I initially anticipated. I initially anticipated that, it's not really going to change playstyle at all. It's not going to... you're not really even going to notice, probably. You're going to be playing the same exact way as you were in 3.1 as a tank as you are in 3.2. That really didn't end up being the case. There's a lot of changes that I've made to my game just because of this Vitality and Strength change. Particularly in the way that I use potions. I'm more mindful of it because I'm now using Vitality potions. I'm more mindful about the fact that I should be getting not only benefit from the DPS that I'm gaining from this potion, but I should look to be gaining a benefit from the HP that I'm gaining from this potion. So I might try to time a Berserk with a potion that lines up with a Tank Buster, and it's extra survivability that way. So there's things like that I'm thinking about now in fights when I'm approaching a new fight. Then there's the obvious things of tanks have more HP. We're doing a little less damage. This is actually an important distinction. Because tanks are doing less damage, it's not as detrimental as it was before to be sitting in your tank stance. You're still doing less damage. However, because your overall DPS is lower, the net damage that you're losing is going to be a little less this patch. Because, obviously a percent of a lower number, you're losing less damage. So it's less detrimental to your raid overall to be sitting inside your tank stance. So I did favor Defiance a little bit more this tier than, maybe I did in Gordius. So that's
Is it not at all in Gordius?
No, I was one of the few warriors who actually did use quite a bit of Defiance on a fight like Living Liquid, and there were a lot of people that were really surprised at how much Defiance I used on Living Liquid. But on this tier, I used quite a bit of Defiance. I'm a big Defiance supporter. I'm very pro. I'm very pro Defiance. I think I think Defiance doesn't get enough credit. The healing bonus of it is
free
great.
Defiance.
Yeah. But so there were subtle changes like that, being able to maintain tank stance a little bit longer than you were maybe in Gordius, and Vitality potion usage. I would probably highlight those two as the biggest changes when you're playing a tank.
All right, that's good advice. Hopefully some tanks pick that up, especially the Vitality potion part. I think that was
it's something people should be mindful about. Your potion is now no longer just a DPS cooldown. It can add survivability, and the best usage is oftentimes going to be something that benefits from both of those.
I'm glad I sidewinded that question into that. So at this point, 5, 6, and 7 kill videos are out. 8 is not yet. Otherwise, we would have shown that instead of the Nerd Scream at the beginning of the episode.
Correct.
Seems like most groups are moving past 5, 6, and 7 at a fair pace, whereas 8, for days, all I saw was Miyu no kill, no kill, no kill on Twitter, just over and over. Like, he wants to release that video so bad.
Yeah.
He just needs those other kills to come in. So, 5, 6, and 7, we have spoken about quite a bit. I do want to talk about 8. Clearly, we won't talk about the parts that people are still working on for the most part, which is going to be that final phase, but we can acknowledge its existence since there are GIFs and screenshots up a little bit. So, but we won't try to squeeze anything out.
Yeah, what I told my team was anything that's already been publicly streamed or publicly blogged about, I'll speak to.
Okay, yeah, and we're not going to try and grab details about certain things.
Sure.
So
appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, up until this patch, I knew what it was like. Oh, no, please, I don't want to talk about the quote-unquote T-strat of A8 now. Please. Oh, my God, now we are going to have to talk about it. Thanks, Alice. Okay, so let's start with the first. Everything has been pretty much streamed up to the last phase at this point.
Okay.
So, we're going to start from phase 1. Sly, I'm going to let you start with this one.
So phase 1 against the Onslaughter. All Mike would tell me is you need to math. I'm sitting here like, what the fuck does that mean?
All you need to do is it's math. It's a logic puzzle.
Yeah, I would describe it similarly, I guess. It's a puzzle that you solve, and then I wouldn't necessarily call it math, but it's a logic puzzle. Yeah.
Trig.
No, it's literally
Calculus?
can you count?
Series
Okay.
of linear algebra equations.
There
Like
you go.
like Sesame Street math, really?
Yeah, I mean, if you can count to 4, you're fine.
Okay.
So just to describe that mechanic to you, Sly, basically 4 people get a stack of a debuff, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and whenever they take damage, a stack is removed, pretty much. And so they have to go around the arena and make sure they pop orbs at the same time. But there's a cheese strat now, supposedly, which reminds me a lot of the A4 Savage Generate LB cheese strat at the very beginning, where everybody eats the first hydrothermal together, and you use it to generate LB. People are just stacking for the hydrothermals to remove stacks, so they don't have to do as many
Remove the final
orbs.
sentence.
Yeah, to remove the final sentence. I guess that's the name. I didn't actually know that was the name of the debuff.
Yeah, final sentence is the name of the stacking debuff.
Do you think that's really that beneficial to groups to stack for that and to order to do less orbs?
I think it's an interesting workaround. I know that many teams have actually been doing that for a while now. Before it's been like publicly streamed and stuff. I don't want to speak for them. However, I can tell you that when you have full gear and you're pushing Onslaughter, I mean that strategy requires you to get 3 hydrothermal missiles, correct?
I don't know. I don't know if it's just you remove 1 stack and then you do the
It's one
remaining
stack.
3 people.
It's 1 stack every time, and there's going to be, with the way that it's been advertised, you need at least your 3, 2, and 1 being hit, and in order to clean that 3 slate, you're going to want at least 3 hydrothermals to be going off. I can tell you that once TPS gets to a high enough point, you're going to be killing Onslaughter before you cast 3 hydrothermals, and at that point you're going to need to be using the orbs a little bit to clear those sentence stacks. And if you're going through it and your 4 or your healer has already cleared out all the orbs on the map, and you have nothing left, I mean that's a wipe. So people are going to have to be aware of how many orbs they actually need. Do I think it's an interesting workaround, and will some groups prefer it? Certainly. Do we prefer it? No. I think that it's an unnecessary amount of extra healing. Is it simple to execute? Of course. Is the alternative simple to execute? Yes. There are many simple ways of doing the orb mechanic that I don't think people have realized just how simple it actually is. And that's really all I'll speak to on the matter.
All right, that's fair enough.
Fair enough. So phase 2 is against 4 robots from A6. What made this phase different than it was in A8 normal?
That requires me to know what A normal does.
A normal is two
Wow.
of them at a time. I think it's Brawler and I can't remember. Brawler and Vortexer first, and then Blaster and Swindler after you kill Brawler and Vortexer. And they don't have the 50% mechanic.
Okay, and we're talking about the ad phase of A8, the second phase
Yeah.
after Onslaughter.
Yeah.
Right.
Very different. Is that answer your question?
That's pretty adequate. I think that's a pretty
I
adequate
can
answer.
take that. If you can't go into detail, I can take that.
I don't know how much detail I'd want to go into. I'm here to answer your guys' questions. I'm not going to put myself out there, but if you guys ask me something, I will, maybe answer it.
Would you want to see more mechanics in fights like this? Was this an adequate council encounter? Would you say?
It's actually my least favorite part of the fight.
Hmm.
To be frank, I find it quite boring once you've done it 1,000 times. It's just it's like going through the motions, and it's not very interesting to me, unfortunately. I thought going through it when we were learning it was maybe, was interesting, and I guess I wouldn't mind. I guess had I not had to redo it hundreds of times because I was, dying to a big robot 5 minutes later repeatedly, I probably would have enjoyed it a little more. But when I just want to get to Brute Justice and be practicing Brute Justice, it's just, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be fighting you guys. Give me the big guy.
Do you have an encounter count on A8, by the way?
I don't, but there's probably someone in our static who does.
Okay, because I know a lot of them
Just-
are in the chat,
yeah.
so if they have one, please post it, because I forgot. Because I remember A3 Savage, I think, was like 572 or something like that.
687.
687? Okay, what the fuck was 572 then? That's a lot of fucking pulls, by the way. A6
1
probably
week.
trumps that. A6 probably trumps that more in one lockout than it does in fucking entire week.
because of Blaster.
Because of Blaster, it's like 40 seconds wipe, 40 seconds wipe, 40 seconds wipe. Over and over and
A
over.
lot of
again.
Blaster deaths, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. All right. So then, like you said, Brute Justice comes after that, and Brute Justice. I don't know how you could take that fight seriously with that music on. I really don't. How you could take a Savage version of that fight seriously?
There's a trick.
You turn
You
it
can
off.
You can mute it.
But in this Nerd Scream video, whoever posted it was clearly listening to it.
Right.
Well, I will let you in a little behind the scenes.
You
little-
have the track.
When we know that we're going for kills, we turn the music on for the recordings. little behind the scenes access right there.
It's like, all right, we're gonna kill. All right, turn the music back on. We're good to go.
Yeah, that's what Miyu does.
Oh my god. Actually, yeah, that's true. Most of the kill videos are from his perspective, so
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense.
Mike, you ain't getting down to brass tacks, man. I feel like I'm asking.
I'm
more
getting down to
serious-
justice.
No. I feel
Listen,
like
for
I'm
every
asking
poll
the more
he's
serious
done,
question.
I've watched a
Fuck no.
group do, okay? I've seen a lot of this already.
Anyway, Brute Justice.
Hit me, Sly.
Brute Justice phase.
Yeah.
Is it just as batshit crazy as it was on normal? Because after Mike showed me that pic, I'm like, there's no way. in
Yeah,
hell.
we showed the pic of the wing of the phase after
Yeah.
this last
Oh,
week.
okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
You do not sound convincing.
No, that doesn't even tell me.
It's a lot of
It's-
fun.
It's fun. Is it?
It's a lot of damage.
Okay,
It's a
thank you.
whole
That's
lot.
all I wanted to know. That
It's a lot
when I
of
say batshit crazy, I'm like, one, will I survive? Two, are the healers going to be a
I
strength?
guarantee the
We are-
first time people see Brute Justice, they will instantly die.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I know what that means.
Yeah.
I've seen enough of that to know what that means.
Instantly.
It's like, wow, cool, we made.
No.
God damn it!
But you're happy with the progression, though. We made.
You know, that was a
take
big thing we
I'll
spoke
take
about
it.
in episode 51. You spoke
I'll
about
take it,
you,
yeah.
you spoke about this on Log Talk. You spoke about this in episode 51. You talked about phasing a lot. We kind of really didn't talk about that at all when we talked about 5, 6, and 7. Because phasing
Right.
is what you said was one of your favorite parts of progression. Is how
Yes.
how good does it feel to make it to the next part of the fight?
Yeah. And I think when it came to something like A8, I was so pumped when I saw Brute Justice for the first time in Savage. Yeah, because it's a landmark.
Okay, in terms of a world first opinion of this, when you phase, because it's like a team who doesn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl getting there. It's like, I'm just happy to be here. I don't give a fuck if I die.
That's
It's
really
that kind of
funny.
mindset.
That's really funny. Yeah, it's exactly like that actually. When you first, I mean, you obviously, if you want to be successful, you're trying not to waste the pull.
Right.
But I can guarantee you, everyone in the back of their mind is like, we made it.
I'm just happy to be
We're here. We're here. We made it. Just take it all in for a second. When we first saw, we'll get to this in a second, I imagine. But
Uh-huh.
when
Oh
we
yeah,
first
we
saw-
are.
When we first saw the wings, it was like, we're here.
Okay, first of all, I don't think that was your first reaction. So when you first got Brute Justice to 0, and he disappears, he does a bunch of shit, and then he goes into his final phase that didn't exist in normal mode. Was there a nerd scream for Brute Justice hitting 0 for the first time? Because like, yo, he's dead, go!
To everyone's disappointment, no. We knew that there was another phase
Oh,
before,
okay.
before we
All
saw.
right.
I'm guessing XIVDB spoiled it.
Well, there was a couple things that tipped us off. The enrage didn't make sense. If Brute Justice dies there, that's an enrage that doesn't make sense to us. B, there were many more abilities still in the data that were not being utilized yet. And C, the very obvious fact of his winged model had been data mined before the patch went live.
That's the number one thing.
No, that was the number one thing of, okay, there's probably a mythic style phase to this fight.
How did it feel? Just
it was really awesome. I think one thing that they did really well with the Brute Justice phases is they're very they're very
animated?
cinematic. They're very
Yeah.
cinematic.
Yeah.
His transformation into his final form is, I think a couple people have seen the pictures, but it looks amazing. It's just very visually appealing. It's like a light show.
And then he kills you.
And then he kills you. That's the thing. Like, you see it like, oh my god, this is so awesome. Done.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Obviously, there's a few details out there. There's a few screenshots. We showed one last week. I told you earlier there's a GIF of the JP group who beat it. They posted one of a specific mechanic that you thought was hilarious that they posted.
I was surprised they posted it, but
You were surprised they posted it.
yeah.
Did this fight really need an extra phase? Like, what the hell did they do an entire extra phase for here?
I honestly think it does. I think, without giving too much away, if Brute Justice dies at 0% and doesn't go into his final form, I think the fight is a letdown. There's not enough at that point to warrant a final boss of a tier. You really do need that final phase to really warrant the final boss of a Savage tier title. So I think that they did need an extra phase. It was a nightmare and a half to go through, but I think it was necessary for the overall design of the fight, yeah.
Okay, so you get to this final phase, you're progressing on this final phase. What would you say the difficulty rating of this final phase is, since most people have no idea what it even looks like?
Are we doing the one?
Compare
to 10 scale,
compare it to any other fight. Say it's harder than this, it's harder than
Okay.
that, it's easier than this.
Ooh. Are we talking about the fight as a whole, or just
We're
the
talking about that
wing
last phase, that brand new phase that people
Okay,
people
so-
don't know
so just
anything
Winged
about.
Justice.
Just Winged Justice. Is that his
Okay.
name? Does he actually change name, or is that just your code name for him?
This is what we call him, I guess.
Okay.
I didn't even think about it. I call the non-wing Brute Justice, and I call his final form Wing Justice. Where would I rank it?
Let me help you out here. Let me help you out a little.
help me, 'cause that's really
Okay.
hard.
Yoshi P said this tier would sit somewhere between second and final.
Okay.
And it took 16 days to clear.
Okay.
I think it took 19 days for second coil and 5 days for final coil.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're asking me, is this tier in between final and second coil?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Absolutely not.
Or are y'all
No.
just straight up god tier and y'all just so much better than?
Well, we're not god tier, but I mean, it's almost objective fact that the rating community is stronger than it was in second coil. I think when you take that in consideration, I think that the fact that it only took 16 days to clear is good. This fight was not easier than turn 9, though. This fight was definitely harder than turn 9.
Okay.
I can say that without a doubt. I'm thinking that this fight was also more difficult than turn 9 Savage as well.
I can actually.
Now,
Well-
Gordius, though.
Yeah.
We've already distinguished Gordius was not a mechanical check. It was
Right.
mostly
Yeah,
a DPS
so-
check.
The thing that I'm wondering right now is mechanically, where does it fall? Because obviously the fight is more difficult than something like A3 because of the large damage values that are being thrown at you all the time. That's what makes part of the reasons what makes A difficult. But if I remove the damage from the equation and just look at it through the lens of mechanics, where would I rank it? And that's the question I'm struggling with. I think it might be somewhere a little above A3 in terms of mechanics. No, it's definitely above A3 in terms of mechanics. I've decided. So
Now,
somewhere between that, somewhere above A3. I guess.
Okay, so when you throw in the whole tier,
Yeah.
harder or easier than Gordy? Than Gordius.
Mechanically more difficult, but it was less taxing on gear. So, however you want to read into that. I think
want to know, would you rather do Nisi or Wing Justice?
Oh god.
as one of only okay, I don't want to say one of only 8 because other groups have beaten it with the Nisi strat as much as it's not talked about. It has been done by more than just one group. But as the kind of the group that got known, hey, we not only did we world first, but we did it actually doing the strategy that the fight had intended for us. Would you rather go back and do that again, or would you rather do Wing Justice?
I'll be honest, and this is coming from somebody who interacted with the Nisi very closely because I was one of the people passing the Nisi on A4, and I was sort of directing that traffic. If you remove the completely ridiculous HP checks that A4 required, to get through the 4th Mortal Revolution, to handle the fact that you have a Nisi ticking while your healer is grabbing discoids, and there's the reducible complexities going out. If you remove those ridiculous HP checks from the fight, I don't mind doing Nisi strat. I don't think it's that difficult. I think the difficulty of A4 really did stem down to the fact that we needed 5 weeks worth of HP just to survive. Mm-hmm. And then once we were able to survive, then we're able to actually practice the mechanics. Because it's very difficult to practice something when you can't live through the entire fight to practice it. And that was one of the reasons that A4 took as long as it did. It's because a lot of the progression teams, we couldn't even start practicing the entirety of the fight until way deep into progression because we couldn't survive to the end of the fight just because of the damage values. So if I remove the ridiculous damage values from A4, I don't think it was that difficult. However, it did require extensive mapping of Nisi pass timings. That would have taken some time. But do I mind doing any of that? No. I think A8, when it comes to something like A8, it's a very large learning curve, and they're very different in that regard. One is a very large learning curve. The other is a very large gear treadmill required. So it's sort of a pick your poison kind of thing. They're very different.
Do you pick?
I probably prefer A8 to A4. I think I'll go with that.
Did you like that Onslaughter was a smaller manipulator?
I was like so uninterested in his model.
You don't want it as a mount?
Just because I don't want anything to do with that model. Just because of the nightmare and the many months of my life that his father took. I want nothing to do with his son.
What if he was a ground mount, he was the Onslaughter, and then when you jumped into the air, he transformed into Wing Justice within like 2 seconds?
I mean, that'd be pretty cool. I'd take that.
How much would you pay for that mount?
I don't think I'd pay anything, but I would do any amount of Nisi to have that.
Any amount of you got to pass Nisi for 72 hours straight. Got it. Pass Nisi in your sleep. Just have somebody run up and slap you in the chest to pass it.
I have a funny story, sort of relating to a scenario that you're discussing. When we were doing A8 Prog, we were trying to figure out. Early on, we were trying to figure out what the enrage was, and one of the simplest ways we decided to do that was we decided that we were going to just AFK in the ad phase. And the safest spot you can AFK in the ad phase is when you have Swindler and Vortexer. Mm-hmm. So anyone who's familiar with how Swindler mechanics are, Swindler in the ad phase repeats high-low height casting every 20 or 30 seconds, I forget. So for 12 or so minutes or whatever we were in there for, we were just doing high-lows. And funnily enough, we had somebody DC about halfway through it, so we were watching their debuff and making sure that they weren't on the wrong pad every time. I had my finger on the tank LB just in case.
Oh my god. Well, hopefully. I'm glad you got. It's way different than how people discovered manipulators in Rage of people getting stuck alive inside of quarantines.
Oh, is that how people found out?
I had a friend who his very first pull, he died inside of the quarantine and got rezzed when the healer got forced in because there were deaths. And then while he was rezzed in there, the Fausts never aggroed him, so he just stood there until the enrage.
Oh, that's funny. I wasn't familiar with that. The way that I found the A4 enrage was
getting there.
I got to the core. I got to the core, and then he enraged at 80%. So I was like, oh, well, this is great. See you in 4 weeks.
I remember Twitter. I remember Twitter after that. That was interesting.
It's just a nightmare.
All right. So, back to my very much more important questions than Sly's. That Faucet minion. Okay. It's the true end game. Glamour, mounts, minions, gear.
I'll be back. You can handle this, right? I'll be back.
Yeah, I got it.
That Faucet minion, though, did you kind of hope it was going to be something more than a minion?
Yeah, I think the minion is kind of lame.
What were you expecting, a mount?
I wasn't expecting anything. I knew it was just going to be a minion.
The data file said it, yeah.
Yeah, the files. But I would have liked a mount. I mean...
Or a title.
A title, a mount, something.
You got an achievement.
Minions or whatever.
Did you get what did you get for loot
I think you can use it. You can use it in Lords of Verminion, I think. So
yeah, you can.
Maybe we were joking that maybe it just goes in and Panzer Shreks and clears the whole board.
It's not a Hummel Faust.
That's true. Yeah, it's just a Faust.
It's a regular Faust. So, but you did get an achievement for the clear. And what did you get for your loot this week? Because you were in there before now.
Well, we haven't cleared A8 yet.
Oh, you just did 5.
We're saving A8 for afterwards.
Okay.
You know, we want to do it right. We want to make sure that we cap lore for the week and get our lore items just to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go in probably tomorrow.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of the important points without literally asking about certain mechanics of the final phase of A8,
which I appreciate.
Listen, you knew I wasn't going to let that happen, Layla. No. I had to keep this guy on a leash, otherwise he was going to go nuts.
My board is clear.
Your board is clear? Yeah, you were going to write all that shit down. Just be like, all right, just got to connect. All right.
There's no GT for any
so the handprint was on the gun over here. Got it.
I could use the board for other things now that there's no GT for.
I don't want to know what else you're using it for, to be honest. But
I just told you, fucking GT.
You said other things. You said other
GT.
Things. All right, so Layla.
Yes.
This is now the second year in a row you've been a member of the World First Crew.
Woo!
Are we going for the full Heavensward suite? Because that's the next part. Now you got a full suite of the entire expansion.
What's the famous Pat Riley quote? What did he say? I'm trying to remember when he was with the Lakers. He was with the Lakers, right? He's like, and next year we're gonna do it again. Something like that. I was trying to make a basketball joke, but
yeah, I don't watch sports. If you had made like a Dota or a CS:GO joke, I might have gotten it, but that's about it.
I don't have any of those.
I'm all about esports.
I mean, I hope that I'll still be around in rating, when the third tier comes out. But that's it's honestly so far away at this point. I can't even really think about where I'm going to be at that point.
Do you think they'll follow up? Do you think it'll be another good raid tier, or do you think it's kind of going to be like where Final was the second, where it was like, it wasn't a bad raid tier, but comparatively not as interesting?
So you're pulling the hat.
I'm pulling it because it's such a speculative question, but it's literally so far Square Enix has always followed patterns. Look at first coil to second coil to final coil. Now look at Gordia Savage to Midas Savage, and we have one final step. Very not mechanically heavy for Gordia Savage, mostly a numbers game. Then we have a super mechanically heavy tier, and then we have one that kind of falls somewhere in between. Because every tier can't be better than the last. You can't guarantee that.
You can't guarantee it, but I would hope that that's what they strive for.
Are we gonna have more squares? Maybe an oval?
Let's get some interesting arenas next tier. I really enjoyed what they did with the arenas this tier. I want to see them repeat that. I want to see more interaction. I want to see some interaction with the environment again.
Yeah. So Layla, I actually remember the quote you're trying to quote. Is that a guarantee? Because his was a guarantee. He says, "I guarantee next year we're gonna." We're gonna do it again.
You got 6 months.
87, 88, I think. But yeah, it was like, I guarantee we're going to do it next year.
Pat Riley's got a lot more balls than I do. Next year, I guarantee that I hope to do it again.
What a fucking cop-out. Anyway, on that note, we're going to start talking about the feast here in a few minutes. But before that, I want to open the floor to you, Layla. If you have anything to say to your team, if you have anything to say to Elysium, to the community, to the devs, I'm opening up the floor. You got whatever you want to say. It's all you.
Okay. I, of course, have a number of shout-outs I want to do. I, of course, would like to shout out my raid team for, showing great success this tier, and you guys did it. I hope we all enjoyed going through it together. I had a lot of fun. Thank you to my FC Elysium for sticking it out another raid tier, putting up with us another raid tier. I specifically want to take this time to shout out my FC's crafters. They put in many hours for our raid teams, and I'll even name drop them. Annabella, Rod, Holyhawk, Artemis, Mal, Chibi. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Those are the ones that I interacted with at least. Thank you very much for the amount of time you put into crafting. Crafting was a huge part of this raid tier, and we definitely couldn't have done it without your guys' help. So thank you very much to our FC's crafters. And thank you to my FC as a whole for the support they gave us. Not just our raid team, but all of our Elysium raid teams. We still have most of our raid teams progressing on to A8, and I hope that they're progressing well. And any way we can support, we'll be happy to. I specifically highlighting the devs. Thank you for putting together a very enjoyable tier. Thank you for putting up with all the complaining we did about A6. I know it was a headache for a lot of the devs to have to go through. One thing that I guess I should highlight is with regards to the Vortexer bug, it's a shame that the bug played out the way it did. One of the reasons that we didn't want to report it as soon as possible is we didn't want to report it until we were 100% dead certain that it was a bug. And we honestly weren't certain that it was a bug until the day we killed it. At least when it came to me, I didn't want to report something that I wasn't fully sure was not working as intended. So we spent a lot of time the day before reporting it, actually testing many different theories and verifying that they did not work. So that's one of the reasons I guess it took as long as it did. And thank you for your patience and with us and working with us on that. Really enjoyable tier, and glad I was a part of it again.
And we're glad that you locked in another Hap World first.
I swear to God, that felt like an Oscars award acceptance speech.
Not rehearsed.
Except all you got was a minion.
All I got was a minion.
Who got it? Miu? The first one?
I think Fold got it.
Oh, because I remember...
He's probably never going to use it.
Fold never does anything. He logged into Blade and Soul the night you guys beat that shit.
He logged into Blade and Soul before we beat it.
I know. I was streaming it and it said Foldosaurus is logged in. I was like, Fold, what the stop. Get out of here, Fold. You're in the wrong game right now. This isn't helping anything. Alright, so on that note, thank you for talking to us about A8 Savage and the rest of the tier as a whole. I'm glad to hear your thoughts on it.
Thank you for answering the tough questions that Mike didn't even ask.
Oh, yeah.
What, you want to ask tough questions? Go right ahead, man. I was waiting for the tough questions.
No. I can't ask the tough questions because it's a black ops sheet. It's just markered through. We can't answer it. I know that. I answered it.
Have you ever seen somebody try to ask Yoshi P one of those questions? He just goes, ha ha ha, can't say.
Yeah.
He just laughs it off like, that's funny, you tried. Okay, that's entertaining.
Ask me in 2 weeks.
There you go. Ask him in 2 weeks or 3 other free companies could beat that shit.
Yep.
Anyway. All right, so now we're going to talk about the latest edition to Final Fantasy XIV, which, funnily enough, World First happened the same day the new PvP mode came out.
Yeah.
It was Destiny.
We had that maintenance the night before that caused a bunch of headache, but...
I can only imagine. Oh, that's right. I didn't even ask about the crashing. Oh, my God. The toughest mechanic.
Yeah, the toughest A8 mechanic, keeping 8 members logged into the game. What was really interesting...
Still having those issues.
Yeah, I'm still having the issues. I mean, everyone, they whatever issue came as a result of that maintenance has not been fixed yet. And now, we'll continue to provide information regarding it until it is. But the interesting part about it was it occurred to the same 3 individuals every time, and almost at nearly the same spot in the fight every time. So but then once we started having crashes, outside in hinterlands and people were crashing in the feast, we didn't attribute it to the fight at all. So that's why we didn't report it as a bug with the fight. But it was very interesting that we had 3. It was happening to the same 3 people every time at the same exact time when those 3 people live across from the world from each other. One guy's in Europe, Folds on the East Coast, and then I'm not sure where Rin's at currently, but I know he's not. He's sort of on the East Coast as well. But one of the people is in Europe, so it's very peculiar.
Very strange. Yeah, I remember a few feast matches were thrown by the enemy team because they had 3 members crash at the same time. It's a rough life. But speaking of the feast, last Thursday, new PvP mode was added.
Woo!
Layla hadn't even done it until like 2 days ago when I
did a lot yesterday though.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
All right, so we have the new PvP mode, and I didn't go too specific into the notes here. We kind of just covered all the different layers that there are to the feast. So you have spent yesterday in the Wolves Den. How much time would you say you spent over in the feast?
I would say 5 or 6 hours.
That's a good amount of time.
I'd say
It's one day, Sly. Come on now. He's not like the people who already ranked Diamond on 2 characters phased.
Had a lot of fun matches with Phased and T-Pan and stuff. That was a lot of fun.
Oh my god, please. We killed them once. We killed Jammy in about 5 seconds and we're like turtle for 9 minutes. Please. We don't want to fight them anymore. Coward. Listen, when you're up against the #1 ranked team, you don't fuck about. Oh man. Okay, so Sly, how about you? How much time have you spent feasting?
Really?
I'm asking you a question.
When it came out
Thursday.
How many hours? Let's say if I actually had to put it, I would actually say like 2 days, literal days.
48 hours?
Well, no.
2 16-hour days?
Yeah, 2 16-hour days.
Okay, 32 hours. 30 plus hours. That is more than I've done. I say that's more than I've done. I haven't had the time to do that much. All right, so we're going to be doing our initial thoughts on this mode because PvP's always been a very meh topic in Final Fantasy XIV. It has its momentary, stints of popularity, and then we remember there's only one fucking map and one fucking mode that anyone's playing. Mm-hmm. And then people don't want to play that one map or that one mode, and it kind of falls off in the PvP community. Just, they have theirs and everyone else has their own. It's a different part of the community. Right. So let's talk about the individual modes. Let's talk a little bit about meta that's developing now in the middle of preseason. For those wondering, the official season is slated to start at the end of March. My guess would be March 29th. That's last Tuesday. I'm sorry, March 31st. That's the last Thursday of the month. I am going to assume the season starts on a Thursday. Makes the most sense because the patch was on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. But we're going to talk about all the modes. So first, I have barely done any of this. I've done 4 matches of 8v8.
Just 4?
Just 4 matches. I went to 4v4 immediately. I wasn't fucking about. You know what? 8 versus 8 is literally a bunch of chickens with swords beating the shit out of each other.
I would agree with you. It is so fucking hectic.
I actually didn't mess with the 8v8 at all, so I couldn't even comment. I went straight to hardcore.
If I would do a little bit more, I would find it to be fun. I watch other people do it. I watch Joe do it all the fucking time. It looks fun. I would want to get back to it, but I'm stuck in 4v4 solo. That is my home right now. That's
a life. That's a life not worth living, my friend.
Oh, you don't know. I'll talk about it in a few. But yeah, 8v8 I would actually like to do more of.
Really? The only thing I would like 8v8 to be done is throw it in the front lines roulette. That's all I want out of 8v8 at this point. I will not.
But you would have to scale it down though.
I don't give a. What do you mean scale it down? It's still level 60.
It's level 60. Now, are you talking about doing the actual front lines maps with 8v8?
No. I mean just throw it in that roulette. That's the only way you're ever going to get me to do. It's the same way the only way you get me to do secure.
Okay.
That's it. I won't do it if you don't put it in the roulette. I don't understand why it's not in the roulette, because now the issue is no one does Seal Rock. Exactly the problem that we had before. Now everyone's just doing Feast, and no one's doing Seal Rock. Not even for fucking weeklies. Oh, man. So 8v8, no one cares. Got it. 4v4. We're going to talk about 4v4 solo queue first. Now, Layla, I think you did mostly party queues the other day. Okay.
Mostly pre-made, yeah.
Did you do any solo queue?
I did one solo queue.
And that pretty much nailed it. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm assuming.
I didn't mind. It's like something I'll do when I'm bored. But I mean, what I find interesting is pre-made. The solo queue isn't super interesting to me.
Well, that's going to be an important topic a little bit later when we talk about seasonal rewards. Because
sure, yeah.
Yeah. What about Sly? You said you've been living in solo queue hell. Why don't you just literally grab 3 friends and try Light Party? Okay, for reference, I've done 33 solo queue games. I'm 23 out of 33. I think that's like a 70.3% win rate or something. What's your win rate, Sly? Now I want to know.
Out of like 100 and something matches, I'm still at like 47.8.
Oh,
man.
That hurts.
You don't even know.
No.
You don't even know.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. Okay. Here's the thing. One, wish there was an anti-rage quit option.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
When, it happened either today or yesterday, when we get in, I see someone either DC or just not even come back, and I see it's even right before the start of the match, and then right when the match starts, I just see a pile of coins sitting next to me.
Those PS4 load times, though.
That's funny. I had a game like that.
I see a pile of coins next to me. This is not going to go well, even though the team, like, there was one match I had where they had a team of 3. Somebody left, never came back. We almost fucked that shit up. I'm like, are you serious?
I heard about that match. You were 3v4 and you still almost lost.
Oh my God. You want to talk about high blood pressure. Woo! 2, actual matchmaking would be awesome. I mean, if everybody, like, once the season starts and everybody gets to tiers, actual matchmaking wouldn't make life simple.
Wasn't that the whole point of adding a rating system, was that we would only get matched against people near our rating or the average rating
But I
of the
still
team?
get people who aren't even ranked, who are still not.
Well, okay, for bronze, that's
Maybe that's a
acceptable
product
because
of preseason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and also you have to realize that bronze is actually considered 0 to 500. You just don't get placed until you get to 500.
Right.
Actually, bronze is 0 to 999. To be fair, bronze is that entire encompassment before silver.
So when the season starts, the actual matchmaking and rating system, and actually, because people are trying it out. A lot of people are going to solo, and
they should not be black mages.
They shouldn't be. You shouldn't come in as an Astro if you're not going to put a sect on. I'm sorry. What the fuck are you doing?
I have a macro for that, actually, in solo queue. I have a macro that reminds
I'm
people.
slowly learning to make macros, and I'm going to make a few more macros before I go back in tonight. Why don't you have a sect on?
No, literally, you got to make it a nice, happy-go-lucky macro that says...
No.
It says the following, all right? It says, please remember to turn on your stances, oaths, sects, whatever... Turn it on. Then give them a kill order in the next part of the macro, and make sure that it says watch for defensive and offensive kits to identify target changes. Literally pretend like everyone has never played PvP before when you make that macro in your party.
Thank you, Happy.
You're welcome. I'm trying to save you trouble. This is why I have a 70%
talking me
win
off
rate.
the ledge. Like, I am on the ledge when it comes to 4v4 solo. You were talking me off the edge.
I'm telling you, solo queue, as much as it can, a lot of times can be your party member's problem, there's always something you can do to try and minimize it. And if this is what you can do, you need to fucking do it.
Now, in your solo queue experience, have you ever had, like, a heartbreaking loss? Like,
Yes.
last second? Okay.
I've had a few. I think everyone, whether it's party or light, I think 8v8's the only one where I've never had a heartbreaking loss, because I've never lost 8v8.
Yeah, it was going to happen in 4v4. Yesterday, I swear to God, I almost just threw something. I was about to break something because All we had to do, like 10 seconds, all we had to do was run clock. Don't push it. Don't risk it for the biscuit.
That's
Don't do
always
anything.
the worst when the tank
Don't
dies
do
when there's 10 seconds left on the
anything.
clock.
And
Tank
then
gets
about 4
LB, 10
seconds left.
seconds left.
Oh my god.
That is the
Sorry.
worst feeling of. That's the worst. That happens in light part. Sometimes they just get your tank with like a chain of LBs, and that's it. It's over. Your tank picked everything up. They have 9 stacks, and you're fucking done. That's it.
Like, don't do anything. Run clock. Take a knee. Take a knee. Don't you?
I think
even
if you type
whisper to
/
anybody.
Neil, they would still kill you.
Don't whisper to anybody. Just back up. Use cooldowns. Heal him. Don't worry about me. I'm not gonna die. I'm not even.
You probably
worth
got 25 medals left at this point.
I probably I had 50 at that point, I think. And I'm not worth it. He is.
I'm not worth it.
He'll
Don't
be.
you,
I'm
don't
not
you
worth
love
it.
when you die over and over again and your team blames you and it's like, I'm not worth anything anymore. That's not why we're losing.
Motherfucker, one, I had offensive first, so you know they're probably gonna go for me, and usually they do, even when I don't have offensive. I actually love having the target on my back. It is a sign of pride. People target me. People know you better.
Let me tell you about getting targeted in solo queue, all right? Let me tell you about people changing their strategies when they see the fucking names on the list. All right, guys, so we're going to go for the range DPS. Oh, it's Happy.
Oh, it's Happy.
Yeah, yeah. that's what's been happening to me.
Who's this ninja doing in here?
Who the fuck plays Ninja? It's all about Monk.
And what I've been starting to do is like, okay, tank, okay, warrior, you take offensive. Nope, they're still going to fuck me up. They still fuck me up.
Oh my god.
It's
We'll
a
talk about Tynos later, Baton.
Oh, okay.
I have a funny Black Mage story when we talk about light parties here. All right, so now we're going to go into the realm that Layla has actually played.
Yeah.
So he can actually talk
The one
about
I can actually talk about.
light party queues. And Sly, I think this is the one you can't talk about because you haven't done it.
Nope. I heard rumors about you though. We'll get to those in a second.
You need to get in. You need to get in on this.
This is where the
competition is.
I have a squad.
This squad has done 0 matches, so no, you don't.
I have a squad in my mind. In my head, I have a squad. It's gonna be like Ocean's 11. I gotta recruit them. It's all right.
There's only 4 people. Why would you need 11?
Oh my god, Happy.
Well, I mean, what about
Let it go,
Oceans?
Sly.
What about Ocean's 12? I like that one too. On that note, so light party. Light party, Layla. What are our first thoughts here? How many wins you got?
I don't know how. I'm actually logged in. Let me see.
Dude, I have that shit memorized. I'm like, every win, I keep that shit on lock.
Let's see. Oh, I have it over 2 characters. I was actually using the feast to cap my ult. So most of my games are actually on my ult. I have
45 games.
Well, I did 90 from Alexander, and then,
okay.
Yeah, so whatever that is, 36 games. So I have like 36 on my ult, and then I have looks like 15 on Layla. So
Nice.
About 50 games total.
That's pretty good. In 6 hours, that's a lot of games. Granted.
Yeah.
I think we could talk about light parties
80% rate, I
matchmaking.
guess.
We could talk about light parties matchmaking a little bit.
Yeah. So Happy, I heard this rumor that you played against a diamond team. How did that go?
I played against the #1 team, and so has Layla. Layla's played against T-Pan's
All
team.
of my losses are to FaZe team.
Yeah, FaZe, T-Pan,
All
all of
of
them.
them.
They're all diamond. Because the game doesn't seem to care so much about rating yet in the preseason. Because you can be unranked and be put up against a full diamond team.
I don't mind it. I like fighting them.
Oh, I don't mind either because here's the thing. When you go up against that full unranked team and you get them over and over
It's free rating.
over, it's
free
10
rating.
a win if that happens. There's only so many times I can do that before I just feel bad. Like, so I had a story earlier. So we went up against a team that was, I think, Black Mage, Dragoon, Astro Warrior, I think it was.
3 win.
And the Black Mage, that's fucked up. The Black Mage, you can tell he wasn't like super, like he hadn't done a lot of PvP as a Black Mage. So we went in and we killed him in 3 seconds. Every single time. After 5 games, he comes to my chat while I'm live streaming and he just goes, "Please, I just want to be your friend." Because we got matched up against them 9 times in a row.
But you are his friend, Happy.
Then he subbed to my channel and it was pretty.
He's your best friend.
And then he paid $5 to sub to my
Every
channel
time you
time.
see him, he is your best friend.
No, he's definitely not. And it's like, it just feels like that's how you get to Diamond. You just find that team that's queuing at the same time as you that you beat over and over again, and you just farm them. As soon as you know you're going to beat a team every time, that's like the way to Diamond. And I hope that's not how it is when we get to the ranks actually sticking. Because
Queue dodging will always be a thing, and anytime there's like a matchmaking system like this, it's just a product of, you know, PvP matchmaking in MMOs. Happens in every MMO.
But Diamond against unranked?
That's just so
why
fucking unbalanced. I'm sorry. There's a shock factor. Well, Happy, I don't think there's that much of a shock
No,
factor.
actually, I don't mind going up against the Diamond tier team because we can still beat them and kill them. But it doesn't change the fact that they have this much more experience.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. For the average person, they see someone in Diamond and like, pack it up. Just don't do anything. Just try to stay alive. Try to stay together. You know, pack it up. Don't. We lost. GG. Diamond. GG. That's all. You
don't see that till after the game, though. And it's after the game you go, oh. It's just done. What was your experience against some of those higher tier teams, Layla? Because the coordination is pretty fucking legit when you go up against those tight teams and the light parties.
Well, I'm still learning how PvP works in Final Fantasy because, you know, I have, you know, quite a long PvP background when it comes to MMOs, but when it came to Final Fantasy, I never really bothered. So, you know,
understandable.
Things that, you know, are probably very obvious to the people who have been PvPing this game. Like, I didn't even know that DRs last through death. I didn't know that diminishing returns last through death. I figured when you die, your DR is reset, because that's how it is in most games. When you die, your CC DRs are reset. So, you know, when a healer comes back from res and I'm wondering why they still have a stun DR and my team's like, oh yeah, they last through death. You know, those are things that I don't know yet. So I still have a lot of shit that I have to learn when it comes to Final Fantasy PvP. But I'm enjoying it.
Is this how you're going to cap your lore every week?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm never doing an expert again.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody sees it.
Can we get a PvP arena that's the last boss of Neverreap's room and it has the tornadoes?
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Call it the pit. Just fall into the spikes. Oh god, no, never mind. I don't want to go up against a fucking warrior. Never mind. I lied. I don't want to do it. Nope, that's it. No white mages, no warriors.
Take it back. Don't take it back.
No machinists.
Sorry.
I don't want to see
Don't
any
take
of
it
that
back.
shit if
Don't
they
take
ever
it
did
back.
that. Nope.
Nope. Too late.
Never doing an expert. Is it that enjoyable? Would you say that you are
I enjoy
actually
it, yeah.
enjoying
I do
Final
kind of
Fantasy
echo.
14 PvP?
I do echo your sentiment of. I hope that there's more maps because, you know, doing the same map over and over will get stale. And you know, hopefully, what I don't want to. I know this is a Final Fantasy show, and this is heresy.
No.
Heresy to mention World of Warcraft.
I hope you understand. We had an entire show where we talked about games we play that aren't Final Fantasy 14.
Okay, well,
So you're good.
The background, I did WoW Arena for about 5 or so plus years, and one of the things that's very important in that game is the map, and certain compositions do better on certain maps, and it'll be interesting to see how they take the adding new maps in Final Fantasy, because maybe certain compositions will find more strength in maps where you can view Z-axis more, maps where maybe knockback is more prevalent than it is in the current map. Just little things like that. That will push along the meta and balance as the years go on.
Or do you just get a situation where it's Dalaran Sewers every time? When Dalaran Sewers came out, that's what happened. I literally got 20 games in a row, and then one on Lord of
Dalaran Sewers, I have a deep-seated hatred for. Because I played RMP, and anytime we fought, because in Season 8, Elemental Shamans were extremely popular. Elemental Shamans and Boomkins and shit were extremely popular, so any team with a knockback was just a nightmare for RMP on Dalaran Sewers. But that's a story for another time.
It sounds like one.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of which, we're talking about the meta and moving along. So, jobs we like, jobs we hate, which could be the same thing. You can look at that, like having a job on your team, and hate having it on the other team.
Can we all say this on? Can we all say this
all
on
right.
one?
3, 2, 1. Summoner.
Summoner.
Oh, I guess I missed the train. Summoner.
Thank you,
Thank
Layla.
you.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Summoner has always kind of been one of those jobs that has dominated Final Fantasy XIV PvP. I don't know if you guys know this. When the Wolves Den first came out, there was no forced one melee, one ranged. So the most common
Yes, I do
composition
remember
was a tank, 2 summoners, and a scholar. Summoners could also battle res back then. Cleric stance also worked back then. It was a sad day. If you got double summoners...
I do remember that. I actually did a lot of Woes Done the first week it came out, and then I never touched it again.
Yeah, that's the same for me, pretty much. Did you delete your character on WoW, too? I just read that in chat.
Damn.
That's
Did you
cold.
see that I actually posted the lost episode?
Cold.
I did. I thought that was
yeah,
really
that's
funny.
right. You
I like
posted
that you
it
waited to post it, or at least waited to advertise it until, like, I was done with
when you
A8.
beat A8 Savage, yeah.
Yeah,
As soon as you beat A8 Savage, I was like, hey, Layla. By the way.
That's funny. But I did see that, yeah. No, I did not delete a character in WoW.
So, okay, summoners...
Still have my mage.
So summoners are a pretty hot topic right now, because it's literally your strategy goes out the window. Even if the summoner has the defensive kit, it's like strategy goes out the window as soon as everyone sees a fucking summoner, whether it's solo queue or light party. No, you know what your strategy is? You fucking kill that summoner. If most people don't even ever try to sleep that summoner, because like, I don't want Tri-Disaster, Bane, Fester, Dread. I don't just...
Yeah.
No. He's got 3 seconds to kill me. We gotta stop him. Please.
Okay, so in terms of ranged, we fear / love a summoner. Fine. What about melee's Hap?
Ninja sucks. Comparatively to the other two, I would much rather have a monk or a dragoon than a ninja. A ninja does some things great.
My initial reaction, and that, like I said, I don't claim to be an expert at the moment, but my initial reaction is that Dragoon Burst and their ability to control your burst is very powerful. And
Gap closers. That's all we need.
Monk.
Yeah.
It's like,
Monk is
I'm sorry.
is
Did
really
you have
powerful.
buffs?
Yeah, one-on punch is also really strong.
Did you have buffs? I'm sorry. 9 Etherflow stacks. Did you have those? Oh, you don't have them anymore. Okay, perfect balance. Did you see the flow chart for the monk rotation in PvP, where it's just perfect balance, 1-0 punch 5 times, and then use everything else, then 1-0 punch 5 more times? Mm-hmm. I think that ninja can work. It's perfectly fine to play a ninja in PvP. They have a 3-second AoE silence. Like that cannot be understated. They can bind people very frequently. They can slow people with dotons if they fight on them, which can give them a movement advantage. And they've got a lot of burst, but they do not have the controller and burst of a dragoon, and they definitely don't have the control and burst of a monk, who has a 6-second pacify that they can put on the enemy melee DPS.
Yep.
Do not forget that 6-second pacify that also gives you 3 grease lightning stacks, mind you. Cannot be. You can't deal with axe kick, forbidden chakra, fucking everything all at once and just not want to eat shit the entire time.
You better have fucking wait. Head of War does prevent it, doesn't it?
Whatever the fuck. It's a monk. It's just I'm scared. All right.
Does it prevent pacify? I don't know actually.
Yeah. I'm trying to think because I usually go in because every time I see a monk, I know they're gonna try to stun and pacify me first, and I'm like, let me put on my feather ward before anything happens. So
it's fucking scary when a monk gets a hold of a fight, you're done. Like monk summoner, that's why I think monk is the melee DPS dominant. Summoner is the range. Although I have to say, Bard and Machinist have been coming out strong. Black Mage is the only one.
Machinist, I've seen some really good fucking Machinists.
Yo, Between the Eyes can go fuck itself.
Yeah, Between the Eyes. Was it like triples the potency on a CC target?
Yes, it does. It crits for like 7 to 8k.
It was like 450 potency at that point.
Yeah,
before modifiers.
Right. Before hot shot, before anything else that you pop. It is a scary fucking ability. Yeah. And then Barrage Imperial Arrow is nothing to laugh at either. Barrage Imperial Arrow Sidewinder is a fucking scary. If they give Bards a fucking equivalent to Bane next expansion, I'm gonna cry.
Now, and that's what I wanted to ask before we move on. Do you think there needs to be any balancing?
Oh yeah. They said preseason was made for balancing. Like the next 3 weeks is let's see what's dominating, let's see what's weak. I think we can also agree Dark Knight is probably the weakest job in PvP.
I haven't got to mess around with Dark Knight. I played Warrior and Paladin a lot, but I didn't.
I've seen some good Dark Knights, but most of the time most times I get a Dark Knight and I'm like, fuck.
I just think their PvP skills aren't good enough. I think that the Warrior, I think things like Tetsudo, things like cover, things like the AoE knockbacks and
Paladin's
home
in a
gang.
great spot. Paladin's really strong. I think Warrior's ability to double fell cleave into Berserk is really strong as well, but.
Yeah.
Brutal swing on a 20-second cooldown has utility. I think what are DRs in this game? 30 seconds, I think?
30 seconds, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you have a brutal swing every stun DR. You can set up a lot of sleep chains off of a brutal swing. There's a lot of things Warrior can do that are going to keep it viable.
Yeah. I don't think Warrior needs too much of a change. They're also, if they get the coins, they're pretty reliable. Obviously, Hollowed Ground is very reliable. 10 seconds of you can't take my coins. But, I mean, there's nothing more frustrating than chasing a Warrior, thinking you have him, he home gangs at Equilibriums and all that shit, and it just immediately goes to hell. You think you have the Warrior, and he turns it around on you completely.
GG.
But then you have Dark Knight that literally plunges in on the healer, and it's like, all right, well, I got one stun.
Yeah, I haven't got to mess around with Dark. I'll play Dark Knight a lot in this next bit when I'm capping, just to get like a feel for it and decide where it actually lies.
It's not good. I've seen some good ones, though.
I look forward to finding out how terrible it actually is, or is it?
Now, what are your thoughts on the buffs or the kits? Because I've been playing solo, I only see the offensive and the defensive.
Yeah, you get the offensive, defense, and adrenaline. You don't get medical kits on 4 vs 4, which is fine because it's a pretty stupid thing to have to fight over on 4v4.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting dynamic. I also like the adrenaline kit in the middle. Force feeding LB to whoever you decide. We won a game, I think, because we gave me the adrenaline to get the tank LB before they came in and LB'd us. So little things like that are cool and I think healthy for it.
Is there so this offense defense kit thing, is it even strategic at this point outside of occasionally?
Sure. I mean, it can be. I mean, it's entirely up to the team who you want the defense kit on, and
because usually that's
fight goes on.
It feels like the meta
they put the targets. They put the targets on whoever's on the other team. That's what we're basing our kill order off of. Is whoever gets
offense defense kit. Yeah. You should be going for because the defense. The problem is when the summoner gets a defense kit, your world is torn apart.
Yeah,
because it's like, okay.
So, I mean, the reality of the situation is you don't need the summoner doesn't need a kit period to tear your world apart. So
no,
right. The defense kit just makes it a hard choice because you can either ignore him because he's got 40% damage reduction, or
it's
just
CC not even him. It's not even about killing the summoner. It's just about stopping his burst window. Stopping Tri-Disaster,
Pain Flare, Fester, Pain Flare, Dreadworm Trance, fucking instant.
I'm not very good at this yet, but I do have an idea in my head of how it should play out. I imagine, pooling stun DR for when he's actually, looking to try disaster and, setting up that burst rotation. Making sure that you have stuns available and stun DR for him. I would imagine is
and very quick
very
purifies.
Important. And purifies, obviously, using them, coordinating them, not overlapping purifies. One of the biggest mistakes, teams will make as they're trying this mode out and getting into PvP in this game is overlapping purifies.
To clear up what he means, for those who are unaware, you can cast Purify on other players. So when you're the melee DPS, no one's attacking you and your healer's asleep. That's a possibility. You can do that. Oh, I can't break this. Can I get a Purify? No, it's mine.
Scumbag.
Yeah, you can purify. You can purify other people. It is a targeted ability. Please use it for that. That is okay. Now that I'm done being angry about solo queue.
See, there we go. That's the saltiness I needed. Thank you.
There you go.
So obviously this is preseason, but we will get seasonal awards once the actual season starts.
These are pretty interesting. These seasonal awards.
Oof. You want to go into it, Hap?
Yeah. First place gets a fucking season trophy as a furnishing. I'm going to laugh when the person who wins that doesn't have a house.
They should give you a house.
Yeah, that should be the prize. Yeah, here's a house. Congratulations on winning PvP. Now, will it be a medium size or a small? Because it's not going to be a mansion.
It's going to be a small. Well, you're the champion. You're the world champ.
I hope I never have a trophy because I lost my house during Prague.
Does it work like the Hunger? Does it work like the Hunger Games and you get
Wait, we can't skip over that. We can't skip over that. He lost his house during Prague.
I lost my house while we were doing Prague raiding.
Wait.
Was that this tier?
This tier, yeah. I lost my house.
Like it was the
Why do you always lose things, Layla?
It's gone. It shows how much I actually cared about it. That like 2 weeks of raiding, I lose my house. But that's funny.
Wow.
I just learned a couple days ago that there was actually a bunch of gil waiting for me on an NPC. So I was like, oh, cool. I don't even care about the house now. I just want this gil.
Like, we need a tally, Layla. How much shit have you lost in this game?
Quite a bit. Bit. Let's see. I've lost a character. The past 3 raid tiers, we've had loot hit the ground. I lost a house.
That has to happen, though. That's normal.
Yeah. I lost a house.
If the whiteboard's gone in 3.4, like we gotta.
One of these days, I'm gonna be on here, and that wall is just gonna be empty.
We're gonna be like, what happened to the whiteboard?
What happened?
So during 3.4 prog, we were wiping on this mechanic, and I got really angry. I punched a hole in the whiteboard, so now I don't have one anymore.
Now he needs a new whiteboard and new drywall.
So first place gets
no
this
wall
trophy.
punches this year.
No wall punches. Good.
No wall punches.
That's nice. 2016's New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it's my resolution.
There we go.
No,
So
I try to avoid punching walls. Anyway.
So first place gets the trophy. They also get the next 2 sets of rewards. Top 10 gets a body piece, plus the top 100 rewards. And the top 100 rewards, you get a headpiece for the season. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if it's actually got stats on it.
We gotten what, a paladin picture, I think?
But was that paladin, was that just the diamond tier gear? Because they said, so that's another thing that's not clear. They said players who are diamond rank will get unique armor. But this makes it seem like this is what they meant. Like, diamond, like, if you're top 100, I'm assuming there's enough people PvPing that you're diamond. Theoretically, there's more than 100 people PvPing, and they're all diamond. Hopefully. I'd hope.
Right.
Yeah.
So do they base it off of stats at that point then?
Well, so we're actually going to get a website in a few weeks that'll track your KD, your rank compared to everyone else on every data center, and it'll just track all your stats. So we are gonna have a full website for that Square Enix is launching with.
So what if you get a platinum who has better stats than
That's entirely possible for you to be platinum with a better KD, but odds are you're not going to have a higher win percentage if you did.
Right.
Then if you do, then it just means you've probably played less matches.
Well, less matches or lower rated team.
And that's the thing with solo, it's going to be kind of hard to determine because
that's another thing. These are only solo queue.
You're going to get a lot of bad parties in solo, so you really can't base it just off the KD or wins alone. It's kind of a combination of the two. You have to realize that you're going to get bad parties, and you still have awesome KD.
What it usually comes down to for getting out of ELO hell in games, it's assuming responsibility yourself. Obviously, you can't do that for everything.
You got to carry harder.
You got to carry harder. That's what it comes down to. It's solo queue for a reason. It's a team. You're in a team-based game, but sometimes teams just eat shit all the time. And you just gotta
How you survive solo queue.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing about these rewards, nothing for parties.
Nothing for light parties. Currently, they actually posted and said that the reason that they currently have nothing planned is they want to see how preseason goes because they're afraid of win trading and giving away rewards to win traders. My result is, how the fuck can you not just make something where you can't win trade to the top?
So a tournament.
Other games did it. I don't know why they can't.
Now, I have a marvelous idea. If you're up against a team that you're win trading against, why don't you just lose the same amount of points you that you got when you won? There. Fucking, you can't trade anymore. I don't like it.
I obviously would prefer if there was more of an incentive for the pre-made bracket, but
they're still thinking about it.
Like the tournaments?
Right now, you don't even win trade to the top. You just beat the same team over and over again because you're queuing at the same time, and that's how you get diamonds. Oh, man. You could definitely win trade, let me tell you. I've gone up against the same team. I've won against them. I've lost against them. When I won 26 rating, when I lost 19 rating. That's a net gain. Let me tell you, you could win trade right now. Absolutely. It can be arranged.
Now, the tournament ideas come up. I think it's a great idea. But when do you think it would be implemented?
I don't know. That's the thing. They say that they really want to push feast tournaments. Like, that's a big thing they want to do. And obviously, you don't have fucking solo queue tournaments.
I think I might have an idea. Well, solo queue, duh. But
just match people who are solo queue diamond randomly and hope that and whoever has the most wins at the end of the day.
But I think I might have an idea when they might implement it or introduce it. FanFest.
FanFest, I would be
When is
surprised.
That's
October.
really far away, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think they'll have stuff before then. I'm pretty sure they will arrange some official tournaments before then. They've also said they are currently working on implementing 3 things into PvP. A 1v1, a spectator mode, and this is for us to use,
Right.
and a way to set up scrims. A scrim mode. Where you can invite all 8 people to a room and arrange the matches that way.
Oh, so
Those are 3 things that are being worked on. They actually do want the feast to be somewhat competitive because esports is big now.
Caught that.
All
Thank
that
you.
stuff.
Thank you.
So
He didn't catch it, but I caught it.
no,
Thank
what was
you.
it? Was it a sports thing? Well, I not understand it.
Still
Yes,
sports jokes.
Yeah, you
Okay,
won't.
I won't get it. That's probably why I glanced right over it. But so I think that's what they're gonna do. I think they will still forego seasonal ranking rewards, but I think what they'll do is they'll probably invite the top teams from the data centers to come together for a big tournament, a big quote unquote tournament. That wouldn't surprise me at all for them to do as an alternative, especially if it's got things like cash prizes and shit. That's a good way to promote your game. A lot of the times tournaments like this you don't make money on them. They're literally just for promoting your game and
Right.
giving players another incentive to be good at something. I'm hoping they'll do something like this, because if not, I mean, as soon as they give us the tools, I'm hosting tournaments for Ether at the very least. I fully intend to support the PvP community and want them to actually progress in light party queue, especially in lieu of this information. I hope we do get
Should be a lot of fun.
I hope so, because light party is a lot more fun. Like when you
I think so.
when you beat an enemy team because your coordination was better, it feels a lot better than, okay, well, this was a good solo queue party. Fan-fucking-tastic next game. I don't know about you guys. I've always thought that group activities are more fun in MMOs.
Oh, of course.
Fucking
of course.
surprise.
You're not going to find any
Fucking
resistance
surprise, right?
from me. Yeah.
I just hope we get all that stuff soon. Are you guys are you going for Diamond Season 1?
Fuck yeah.
You going for these rewards? Sly,
Yeah,
you wanna talk
I'll
about-
of course try.
Sly, you don't even have a light party team. And you
Hey,
have
I'm
you have
working
30,
on
you have a
Ocean's
30,
11. I
you
have
a
a
30%
tank-
win rate.
I
You have a 30%.
47.8. Probably higher than that. I don't give
Bullshit! You said you played 130 games. You had 40 wins. How the fuck does that
No,
make
I was
sense?
saying the rate. I've
Okay.
got higher wins than that. Come on now.
Okay,
Seriously.
it's still not above 50.
Really? How many solo queues have you done?
33, because I know that the superior mode is light party.
Oh, okay. All right. When you do over 100 solo queues and still have a better rate than me, come see me. How you doing?
How you doing? What's your rate right now?
47.8.
No, what's well? Okay, what's your rating?
What's my rating? Oh God, I'm an elo hell. Because it's so bad with solo queues. You get a good streak
You know
going.
why? All the good
There's
people
a
went to
fucking
light
ebb and
party
flow
queue.
to it. There's an ebb and flow to it. It would surprise. I mean, okay, on my data center, it would shock the shit out of me if somebody was on silver. No, I don't think anybody's on silver on Primal. Nobody. Somebody said they were on silver on Aether.
I've seen golds. Yeah, there's golds and platinums on Ether.
Yeah,
I saw a warrior who tore shit up. He was gold almost.
but it
flat.
would literally shock the shit out of me. Like,
But see,
if
that
anybody
warrior,
on
you
Primal-
could tell that warrior was carrying his games. When I played against him, you can tell, okay, this guy's carrying his games.
Certain roles can also carry harder than others.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I think Paladin is not so much of a carry as much as it is as good as it is in Light Party. I think Warrior is going to be the carry yourself into
In
high
solo
elos.
queue, I could maybe see that, but
Yeah.
I don't have enough solo queue experience yet.
Better that way. I think that's why solo queue you're
I'll
running
mess
into
around
this
with solo
problem.
queue a lot this week on my warrior.
What about your Dark Knight? You're gonna save that for Light.
I'll convince people to let me play Dark Knight with
Oh
them.
my
in
god, they're
previews.
not gonna let you do that.
Yeah, I'll go find
Not
Netflix again
gonna
and
let you do
make
that.
them let me play Dark
There's
Knight.
No way they're gonna let you play Dark Knight when raiding is involved. It almost sounds like you're saying raiding.
I mean, it's preseason. Like nobody should care right now. Just play.
Whoa, okay.
You know what you? No.
People should be.
I'm going to get into this in a second.
People should be playing things
okay.
like trying things out right now.
Okay, I'm gonna get into this. Okay, fuck it. I'll get into this right now. This is my conversation piece right now. Okay, you've gave me your opinion, and that's fine. Happy. What is your opinion? Real
What
quick.
on the feast?
Yeah, of right now, the preseason.
it's a successful implementation of PvP into the game, I feel. Like Seal Rock was. I think that it doesn't suffer from a lot of the issues that Seal Rock did, which was still Grand Company allegiances were a factor. It no longer has the issue where it matches you based on rank, which is your PvP rank that you level up, which can suck, but you have all your PvP abilities now. You'll have longer cooldowns. You may not have, like, enhanced traits, for example, at the lower ranks, but it's still better than matching you based on ranking. The Fold also has had better queues as well, if people are curious. The Fold has been seeing better queues on Ether. Sometimes they're even shorter than the Feast queues, believe it or not. Most people are queuing for both, it seems, on Ether right now when they're queuing solo queue.
Now, there's
finish my thoughts.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. It's good. All right.
Now, how serious are you taking it right now?
I've never been super serious PvP. I love light party. I love organized. I love structured PvP. As Guild Wars 2 calls it, structured PvP. I like when there's a clear objective, when there's team-based play, and it's teammates you can communicate with. That's what I enjoy playing. Solo queue, I accept it for what it is. I accept that if I'm stuck in a low elo, it's my own fault. I can blame my teammates all I want. I'm going to assume it is my fault every time because it's solo queue. And if I can't carry my way out of it, then I shouldn't be out of it. That being said, I think I'll probably put a little bit more time into this. I would like to practice it more because I do dedicate more time to Final Fantasy XIV as a whole. Mm-hmm. So, whereas I'm usually placed in like mid-silver to high silver in most games PvP, I can say that. I would like to see... I think that if there's ever a game to get higher than that, it's this game. I think it's not as competitive as other games. I think the people who are competitive are very good. But the general consensus is not as competitive. You should have an easier time climbing in this game to higher elos than other games.
All right. People ask the question, Sly, why the fuck are you taking this so serious? It's just preseason. It's just preseason.
So serious.
Why so serious, Sly? Mike, do you have that drop ready?
Let me see. I have it in the... Oh, yes, I do. I have the drop ready. Just say when.
Go ahead. Go ahead and hit it. Go ahead and hit it.
This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Herm Edwards said it best.
You play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
Fucking game.
You don't play.
You don't just play it. You don't just play it to play it.
That's the great thing
If you
about
don't care,
sports.
you're tired. That's what he said.
And I don't
What
care
he
if
fucking
you don't have any
said.
wins.
Those
gonna
are
play
his
to win.
literal fucking words. And I
start telling
know
me
this is
it doesn't
preseason.
matter.
I understand.
Then retire.
It's practice.
Get out.
I think what
Doesn't
preseason
matter.
is going to do is weed out the quote unquote. And I'm never
Talk about practice.
we talking about practice though. I understand we talking about
Layla's
practice.
talking about practice now.
See, you didn't even get it. Layla gets it. See, we need Layla on this show more.
You've had him twice in
Somebody who
4 weeks.
appreciates you.
Yes, thank you. But with this, I understand it's preseason. But what preseason is going to do, in my opinion, is weed out the people who are there for the free lore and the free chicken. It's gonna
Are
weed
you
out-
kidding me? People always want free lore and chicken.
It's gonna weed it out though. Like if you ain't here, if you like once the season starts and you try to get in solo, please don't get in my party. Please don't. You will hear the worst from me. I will say I'll be salty as fuck. That's putting it lightly. I will be salty as fuck if you are just there for the free chicken, not coming.
Like you've done fucking.
Oh, okay.
so
No.
much for free chicken.
Wait. Time. I've admitted this shit. I was a Care Bear when it was Frontlines because it was Frontlines really didn't matter at that point. There was nothing on the line for Frontlines. There was no sense of pride. I mean, yeah, you had pride as a fucking GC. Oh yeah, twin adders, baby, twin adders. No, that was it. There's nothing on the line. There is a sense of pride. There, like, I want to see my name. I want to see my name at the top of that fucking list. Fuck you, Mike. I see that fucking head. You shut the fuck up. I want to see that my name on my data center at the top of the list. I really do. If I'm going into solos and you're coming in as a Care Bear, bruh, don't even. Really? You gonna put the salt over my face? Really? All
I
I'm
know what
saying,
you're talking about. That just showed up there. I don't even know how it got there. Let me get rid of that for you.
all I'm saying is that yes, it is preseason, but I take this shit serious. I play to win. You play to win the game. If you're just playing to play, you're tired. Get out.
I mean, that's kind of how I
Get
feel
out.
about raiding too. If you're going into raiding, but you're never willing to make a concession for your raid team, that's kind of
and I
the
was
same
about
mentality.
to bring that up. Since we had
Man.
Layla on, I was about to bring that up. Thank you.
But he's got a team that's ready to make concessions.
Yeah.
They make a concession every fucking major patch where they take a week away from everything, which I hope everyone was listening to last time we had him on and actually ate food for that week.
Yeah. I actually had a lot of good meals this prog.
Good meals, lost his house. Got it.
Yep.
And
Got
won.
I'm
And
homeless, but I ate well.
And that's the quote for the show. We'll make that the title of the show. Homeless, but stay in the
Homeless,
realm of
but I ate
55.
well.
Homeless, but I ate well. There we go. All right. Overall, I think the feast is successful. I think now,
Yes.
as Yoshi P stated, more maps. I can already think of some maps I'd like to see, and they don't require a lot of necessarily work. The center of Cartano Flats with a few modifications, I wouldn't mind as a map, where you have to go up the initial thing at the start. I wouldn't mind seeing Halatali, which has been reused for fights over and over again already. I wouldn't mind seeing an arena in there. But I do agree with Layla, we need more than one arena. I think that's always been Final Fantasy XIV's
and
biggest
we'll
problem.
get
They
it.
focus
We'll
way
eventually
too
get it.
much on one arena per one mode. Too much of that. We need more things for Seal Rock. We need Seas, I mean. We need more things for the Feast. I would even like to see the Folds arena used in the Feast if possible. You just put the fucking kits inside of the fucking
Wait.
chamber.
You're talking about the NASCAR ring?
Yeah, the NASCAR ring. I want to see more arenas. I don't want to queue in every time and be like, all right, well, there we go. And go right for the offense kit. And then maybe you put offense kits and defense kits in different places. Maybe one of them you put an offense kit in the middle of the arena.
Or make them random drops.
Or you put adrenalines on the side. No, don't make them random drops. Don't
Yes!
make
That would make the shit
It's
interesting.
PvP. You need to fight over something. Always fight over the objective. That's how you win PvP. You fight over the objective. You don't hope for... I hope I randomly get the fucking offense kit in my inventory. I win every game I get the offense
Whenever
kit.
it drops randomly on the map.
Okay,
you're gonna fight over it to
drops
begin with.
randomly on the map is okay.
Yeah, that's
But
what
you
I'm
said
saying.
drops randomly. You mean like not... Okay, it's always going to spawn at 8:30, 7 minutes.
Yeah,
5:30.
I'm saying make it drop randomly on the map and then fight.
And
for
then
it.
make us fight over
Yeah.
it. That's better. Make it like if the adrenaline kit was maybe not always an adrenaline kit in the middle.
Exactly.
It would be pretty fucking scary if it was the offense kit. Or the defense kit. Like, that's a fucking scary thing to have to fight over. Because that's a snowball waiting to happen. If a team has mid-control and they get the offense kit and the defense kit every time... That's
I don't know
bad.
if snowballing is the right way they should take that mode. I like it right now where it's accessible by both teams, but if you have complete map control, you can take it over.
Yeah. That's pretty much how it's going to go. All right, well, I'm looking forward to feasting a lot more in this next week. I'm well on my way to my 200 wins for the mount, which is going to come a lot faster than the 200 wins for Seal Rock. I'll tell you
it
that
actually
much.
will. Yeah.
Oh my god. I know people who have like fucking 400. I mean, there's people who are diamond. That speaks for itself. It's a
Yep.
lot of wins. How far along are you guys? Layla, you told us your numbers before. You only have those
Like
40-something
50 games in.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, 80% win rate or something.
Yeah, and then Sly, you had the like few 8v8 games, and you had the solo queue games. The 40% win rate on 100, so you got like 60-something wins. Ish.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But on that note, I think we can wrap up the show so Layla can go beat Ace A8.
I don't even know if we're ready tonight. We might be doing it tomorrow.
Might just do lore, just do feast.
Okay.
Yeah,
lore.
I'll probably just cap lore and then.
Post show with Layla.
There we go.
Yeah, I can stick around until I want to go to Taco Bell. I gotta do my post. I gotta do my post State of the Realm Taco Bell trip.
What number are you gonna get?
I've had a case of Lupo like every time I've gone there for the past like 4 times.
I don't want to ask how many times that is.
I feel like I need to move away from the case of Lupa and get
You
something.
probably do.
I feel like I gotta go back to like the Crunch Wrap or something for a while.
He's got now. We were talking about feast metas. This is a literal feast meta.
this is the real feast. I mean, this is my feast. I'm doing some feast tonight, but I ain't gonna be logged in.
Oh man. On that note, though, let's do our sign-offs as we usually do. Layla, you've been an excellent guest as per usual. Thank you for humoring us as we.
Thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure to be here.
Yes, it's always good to have you here. It's too bad someone else from the static couldn't join you, but
There's always next shows.
there's always next show. If they change their minds, a lot of you are in here. I saw Alice actually subbed. He followed the rules.
I will.
Fold, how you doing?
I'll try and I want to get Fold on here one day.
Yeah.
He's gonna have a lot of resistance, but one day I'll try.
I will try together. I'll guilt him as a fellow Jerseyman.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right, so Layla, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at, my good sir?
Sure. Safest place to find me, probably Twitter. I have a personal gaming Twitter, Layla FFXIV. I post pretty much, anytime I'm streaming there, or if I'm doing something, worth noting, you can find it on that Twitter. My Twitch channel is on that Twitter, so just check that out. You can follow my free company on Twitter. That's the place you'll find all of the updates about what our free company is up to, be it progression related or not progression related. That's at Elysium FFXIV. Outside of Twitter, I stream very sparingly. It's generally when I feel like I have content worth streaming, I'll stream. So I don't have a schedule or anything that I can advertise. But I would just check out Twitter if you're interested in keeping up with me or my free company.
All right, excellent. And also, great A8 Savage post the other day. The fucking 1980s Bruticus fucking cartoon.
You guys like that?
Yeah.
A sneak peek of our upcoming video.
Although there was only 5 parts in that Bruticus, so I was a little disappointed. There was no wings on Bruticus in that one.
Yeah.
There is a 6th bot that gives Bruticus wings.
That's true.
Yes. Now, Sly, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you at, my good sir?
You can find me on twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox. You can find me on Twitter at Slythefox. You can find me on Instagram at Slyakagreyfox07. You can find me on Behemoth, Plot 14, Ward 5 of the Lavender Beds. Come visit. Everybody comes to chill on our front yard. And they never come in. Some of the people never come in. Some people do, and really, Mike.
Wish I had a front yard.
You knew it was coming. You literally could not have not seen that coming. Double negative.
Thanks.
But still.
Thanks.
You literally knew it was coming. There's no way you didn't know that was coming.
You ruined it.
Sly, a.k.a. Saltfox.
You ruined America.
I can't feel my feet.
I can't feel my feet.
Oh, man. All right. And I am your other co-host with no portal behind me for once, although my chair is phasing out a little bit. Michael, Mr. Happy Poveromo. You can find me, Mr. Happy 1227, at all places except Instagram, because I don't have one, because I'm a lame-o. So that's, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. My headset's dying and beeping. It's annoying.
Oh,
yeah.
I know that life.
Yeah, I know that, yeah, I'm sure. I had a Logitech G930 like you had there for a while. I got tired of it disconnecting me randomly, so good to have the SteelSeries headset.
This thing went out so much in Prague.
I know that feeling very well. Trust me. All right, guys, we're gonna move over into the post show here in a minute. So stick around if you're here watching us live. For those on YouTube, iTunes, thank you for joining us for another great week of State of the Realm. Remember, the next live letter is March 26th, that we'll be covering whatever happened in 3.2, because it didn't have any mention of 3.3, and they also have a special guest. I think it was one of the guys from the Dev Diary. I think it was the one that premiered today. I think he's the special guest, the lead visual designer. I think it is. I'd have to double check. But we have a live letter coming up in a few weeks, and the season's starting for the feast in a couple of weeks. And we have some fun topics to talk about for the next few weeks as well. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Until then,
See you next week.
Take care. Great goodbye, Layla. Just sticks the hand up.